All right, next up is something that most people buying a house do not think about, which is appraisals. And appraisals can make deals go a little sideways, depending on how it goes. So an appraisal is where a third party, usually hired by the bank, the lending institution for the home, they bring in someone from the outside who is a professional in this space at valuing homes, who goes through the home and identifies what their opinion of the value is. And this is the lending institution's way of making sure that they're getting into a good deal, that if something goes sideways with the mortgage, that they'll be able to recoup their funds. And so the appraiser's job is to be that representative and be an impartial third-party person who's not involved in the transaction, to put a value on the home. And where this can really impact a real estate transaction is if the appraisal comes in significantly different than purchase price. If it's significantly higher or significantly lower, things can start to get interesting. If the appraisal comes in right at purchase price or right around there, the deal usually will go forward as is, or with very minimal tweaks between the parties. But if you're purchasing a home and let's say you have an accepted offer for $300,000 and the appraisal comes in at $320,000. Well, that's going to be great from your end, because you feel that you're getting an asset that's not only worth what you're paying for it, but it's worth even more than you're paying for it. And if the seller is good with everything on their end, then everything will continue going forward. They may feel a little aggrieved that their asset seems worth more than it's under contract for, but the deal can go ahead because your financing will definitely cover that. But if appraisal comes in significantly lower than the agreed upon price, that's where the lending side of things can get a little iffy, and where you may need to do some finagling in the deal to make sure everyone's still satisfied and the deal can move forward. So let's say you're under contract for $300,000 and the appraisal comes in at $270,000. That's a 10% difference in the purchase price from the appraisal. So what'll need to happen there is it could be a price drop from the seller side. They may be willing to come down in what the agreed upon price is to make sure the deal still happens. You may be able to bring more cash to the table to help cover that appraisal gap. You may be able to split the difference with the seller as well. And in some cases, you can challenge the appraisal. So if you can look for a second opinion, you can ask for a second appraisal, or even pay for a second appraisal. So all of these are different options. The key thing to remember in real estate is that everyone ultimately wants the deal to happen. Everyone wants there to be a successful transaction. So keep that in mind and stay cordial with the other parties. Use your agent and their negotiation expertise to help you identify solutions when large appraisal gaps happen. But the good news is that if the appraisal operates relatively normally and everything's been priced accurately, you should be good to go and move forward into the next step of the transaction.